You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he gonna play again? When's he gonna fight again? You know, you gotta be able, if you can't put in seats, you're gonna get fired. You know.
40 fight, and I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's gonna win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
Weight game. So Israel Majamov says that if Terence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make. And that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mike Tyson reflected on training with Terence Crawford, stressing that the biggest challenge against Canelo won't just be physical, but psychological. Tyson explained that on such a massive stage, the pressure is intense, and only a fighter who stays calm and composed can perform at his best. For him, Crawford's key to victory lies in controlling his mind. If he avoids being overwhelmed, Tyson believes Crawford can make the fight look easier than expected.
Pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody thinks pressure's like getting on stage. No, pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is go, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I hit. It's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fight sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? I'm sweating like a pit in one hole up here.
You sweat.
We will get you one.
You sweat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sweating pretty hard there too.
Exactly. So Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit?
Amir Khan, who has faced Canelo himself, shared his perspective on a potential clash with Crawford. Khan praised Canelo's unmatched experience and skill but noted that Crawford is carrying real punching power as he adjusts to a bigger division. He described Crawford as stronger than ever and capable of surprising the boxing world. Khan emphasized that this isn't a one-sided fight, both men bring elite skill sets, and one moment of brilliance could decide the outcome. While he admires Canelo's dominance at higher weights, Khan highlighted Crawford's adaptability, making the fight unpredictable.
Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was gonna catch and shoot.
We're not catching the shoot.
Make me think.
We're not catching the shoot.
We're catching it, resetting, and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner. I had a look on my face, I guess. My dad said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, "Sean, tell me what's wrong." I said, "My legs are kind of tight." He said, "Your legs kind of tight." He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
It's a habit, probably.
He said, "All right, I'm not gonna use our legs so much this round." And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah. So to your point, when there's a feeling,
when the nervous system goes, ow.
Where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
lost the round.
Whatever. Hell up.
I don't even know what round it is. Chill out.
You don't even know what round it is. Pour this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast the week of Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford. Takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff.
Analysts have raised concerns about Crawford's age and his limited experience at higher weights. By the time this fight happens, Crawford may be 38, an age where speed, reflexes, and recovery naturally decline. While his skills remain sharp, one bout at 154 against Israel Madrimov hasn't convinced everyone he's ready for a seasoned power puncher like Canelo. Experts suggest this could be the biggest test of Crawford's career, not just technically, but physically and mentally.
September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, two-time undisputed world champion and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Majimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Majimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Majimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Crawford and his team have emphasized preparation as their strongest weapon. Learning from Jermell Charlo's defeat to Canelo, Crawford insists he's a different fighter, one defined by discipline, ring IQ, and movement. His camp has focused on strategies built around precision, footwork, and frustration, knowing raw strength won't be enough. With grueling conditioning and sparring sessions designed to mimic Canelo's power, Crawford's team is determined to outsmart rather than overpower.
Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermell Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermell Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now it's definitely...
Technical experts have pointed to the risks of moving up in weight. Extra muscle can add power, but it may also slow a fighter down and reduce stamina. Pictures of Crawford looking bulkier have fueled debates about whether he can retain the speed that defines his style. Analysts caution that while photos may exaggerate the issue, the question remains, can Crawford maintain his quickness and agility while carrying extra mass?
I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're going to be slower. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to be that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Bud Crawford with him looking absolutely massive, but I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course Terence Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terence Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting and a nice angle, I would look completely different than when I look right now or getting out of bed.
Respected trainer Abel Sanchez offered a blunt take, dismissing Crawford's chances. He compared the fight to a sparring session, arguing Crawford is simply too small for Canelo. Sanchez pointed to Alvarez's size, strength, and proven experience in higher divisions as a decisive advantage. In his view, while Crawford is a great fighter, greatness cannot erase physical realities.
Crawford, quote, it will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez. Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo. And it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights. And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, if Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower and Canelo will dictate the pace. Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri countered the hype surrounding the fight, claiming it's not among the greatest matchups in history. While he agrees it's exciting, he believes fans and promoters have oversold it. For Algieri, true all-time classics come from 2 prime fighters meeting on equal footing, and he doubts Crawford stepping into unfamiliar territory against a bigger, established champion qualifies.
Because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that can be made. And I'm like, no, it's not. Certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see, and a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, because, you know, and Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody said it. So thank you.
He didn't say his name. Yeah,
I like this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But,
what's up with that bullpen?
Yeah,
all right, I'm out of here.
I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like you said, there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like, I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean, but this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year, to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that fight? Personally, I think it's a bridge too far for Bud Crawford, and I think people are underestimating Canelo. But
Chris Algieri countered the hype surrounding the fight, claiming it's not among the greatest matchups in history. While he agrees it's exciting, he believes fans and promoters have oversold it. For Algieri, true all-time classics come from two prime fighters meeting on equal footing, and he doubts Crawford stepping into unfamiliar territory against a bigger, established champion qualifies.
Who would beat Triple G? That Spence, that Crawford fought, that Dale Brooks, that Crawford fought, that Sean Porter, that Crawford fought, would any of them beat Callum Smith at 168? I'm not sure how many fighters Crawford fought would beat the Miguel Cotto that Canelo fought. This is what I'm trying to say. When it comes to skill, experience has a lot to do with it. Case in point, you get an Austin Trout, you get a Caleb Plant, you get a Lara, you get a Floyd Mayweather, you get a Bivol. Just those five, when it comes to experience, gives him the right experience that when he fights Crawford, he's not like, I don't know what this is like. There's not one fighter Crawford fought that would give him the experience against Canelo.
Reports and training footage reveal Crawford's intense dedication as he prepares for this challenge. His routines include strength training, high-level sparring, and conditioning drills aimed at improving endurance. Crawford has been experimenting with different training methods to ensure he is ready for the heavier punches and longer exchanges expected against Canelo. His focus is not only on physical fitness, but also mental toughness, with his camp stressing discipline and composure. The heart of the debate lies in this simple reality. Crawford must deal with Canelo's relentless style. While Crawford's defense and movement are superb, Canelo has built his career on patiently waiting for openings. Against Errol Spence, Crawford dominated, but Spence did not have the size, strength, or strategic patience that Alvarez possesses.
And that usually breaks them down. So with some fighters, I see is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills. He does everything almost like perfect. But yeah, he's flat-footed, but you gotta realize that he also has hell of a head movement and body movement. He understands and he's perfected that rolling with the punch thing. He's been rolling with punches like just to take off the steam.
Recent footage shows Crawford's intense preparation, strength training, conditioning, and sparring designed to withstand Canelo's power. His camp is also focusing on mental toughness, knowing Canelo's patience and counter-punching style will demand composure. Analysts note that Crawford dominated Errol Spence, but Spence lacked the size, strength, and strategic patience Alvarez brings. For Crawford, this is a new level of challenge.
Was Canelo. Crawford's gonna have to, move up, and I knew when I boxed Golovkin, there's a big difference, especially with someone that, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion is okay, but when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo, but, Crawford's very, very, very good.
Do you think Crawford's still got the legs? Obviously, he's very much got great IQ in the ring, but he's very much a good mover as well. Do you feel like he's still got the legs to be maybe outmoving Canelo if he needs to?
Well, I don't know. I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. He's more, he kind of sets his feet. He's just he's cute with how he approaches chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more updates on this historic showdown.